After this video, analysing accounts receivables shouldn't be too confusing. So what is accounts receivable? In the simplest terms, accounts receivable measures the amount of money that customers owe to a business for goods or services that have already been provided. So why do we analyse accounts receivables? It is important so that any investor, creditor, or manager can observe how well their company manages its accounts receivables. So how do we analyse accounts receivables to get that instant cash? Methods to analyse accounts receivables to see how well a company collects its receivables includes the horizontal and vertical analysis. The horizontal analysis is a method of analysing a company's account balances over time. The horizontal analysis is calculated as follows. First, the dollar change in the amount is determined, and this is calculated by deducting the prior year balance from the current year balance. This answer depicting the dollar change is then divided by the prior year's balance and multiplied by 100 to yield a percentage change. Whereas the vertical analysis is a method of comparing a company's account balances within 1 year. This is normally conducted on both the balance sheet and income statement. The vertical analysis is calculated as follows. For the balance sheet, the account balance is divided by total assets and multiplied by 100 to get a percentage. Regarding the income statement, the account balance is divided by net sales or revenue and also multiplied by 100 to get a percentage. Now for the ratios. Receivables turnover ratio. Accounts receivable turnover ratio measures how efficient the firm is collecting its receivables. This ratio is calculated by dividing the company's credit sales by its average receivables. To calculate average receivables, you add the beginning receivables and the ending receivables and divide that by 2. Generally, companies would want this ratio to be high as it indicates that the company collects its receivables more frequently throughout the year. However, sometimes receivables ratio is difficult to interpret, so it is converted into days in receivable ratio. This ratio divides the previous ratio into 365 days so the business can determine the average length of time it takes to convert the balance into cash. The days in receivables ratio is calculated as follows. 365 days is divided by the receivables turnover ratio. Lastly, one additional ratio that is useful in analysing a company's management of receivables is the allowance ratio. This ratio compares the allowance account to gross accounts receivable to determine the percentage of receivables that are expected to be uncollectible in the future. This ratio is calculated by dividing the allowance for doubtful debts by the gross receivables. Thanks for watching.
Created using Powtoon.